Okay, so the bottom, the bar at the bottom down here is your animation timeline. And you see you have a slider. And because we have no animation going on, let me close this. Because we have no animation going on in our scene, nothing's happening as we move this slider. We start at 0, frame 0, and we move in this one all the way to frame 100. So actually 101 frames in the animation. And as we move forward one frame, you can see there are literally individual frames. And the way animation works is obviously it's an illusion. When we go to render this out, the computer is going to render out 101 frames. Just like right now, if I hit render and I get one frame, that is my frame 0. That is what it's rendering out. As we animate in our scene, the objects in our scene will move in the computer, and then the computer will render them out at each subsequent frame and then put them all together into a video that is like an electronic flip book. It works the exact same way. It just moves so fast that it fools the brain into thinking that there's motion. There is motion in the computer, but the video itself is just a very quickly flipped book, series of images that the brain now thinks is an indication of movement. You also have down here play button, play animation, and when I click that, you see how fast this moves. It moves through my keyframes very quickly. And then we have some other buttons down here. We have set a keyframe, auto key, and set key. And we're going to be using those, working with those, when we start animating our objects. The first thing I'm going to show you how to animate is your camera. Okay? So what we're going to do is this. I'm going to get rid of this camera. And I'm going to create a path that I want my camera to move on. And I want that camera, so my character in this animation is going to be hopping through these different, or hopping to these different platforms. I want a camera that's going to follow him do that. So what I'm going to do is go animation. Oops, can't see it up here. Animation, walkthrough assistant. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this to create a walkthrough camera. The first thing I want to do is I want it to be targeted. And the reason I want to target is because I want the camera to be attached to my character so that it moves with him. And then I'm going to hit create new camera after I tell it to be targeted. And you see it's going to automatically put it in the front view there, or you can see it in the side view. See there, it put the camera in there, and of course it's in the ground. And we can attach our camera to a path that allows it to move on a path. We haven't done that yet. And then the look at camera, if we pick object, it will allow us to pick targeted object, pick our character, and so that the camera is going to follow the character as the character moves, so we never lose the character from the scene. And then this allows us to control the field of view on the camera. And that's it. Okay, so I'm gonna minimize this. I'll come back to it in a second. And I've got my camera in here, and I'm going to come back over here to my Create tab and my splines and my line, and I'm going to have this be smooth and smooth. And I'm going to put the I'm going to start the camera here, and I'm going to have the camera move along path that kind of follows the, there we go. And my path is right there on the ground. I don't want to pick that up, so it's following my character. And whoops. I'm going to go back to the vertices, and I'm going to fix them so that they're a little smoother. And that's the nice thing about this, is you can, you know, move these around. Okay, so now that I've got my path in there, my spline path in there, I can now attach my camera to it. So I'm going to go back to the walkthrough assistant and pick path. Pick the path. And you see it's now put the camera on it. Okay. Now, I have to tell perspective here to use that walkthrough camera so I can see what it's doing. Okay, so now I can see this. Now when I come down here on the bottom and hit that play button, you can see my camera is moving through the obstacle course. Now my character's not moving yet, so it's staying focused on him. And that's moving really, really fast. One of the things we need to talk about is how do I know how many frames to have? And there's math involved. And it's algebra. So I hate to break it to you guys. You do use algebra every day. I know people think they don't. You do use algebra every day to help you estimate. What time should I leave my house in order to get to this place at a time? When should I start doing this, right? So all this is actually algebra. So one of the things we need to figure out is how to do this. And I'm going to create a separate video for that on my Mac where I do a screen capture with the math all typed out so that you guys can use that to help calculate the math, because it's really hard to do it on here. Okay, so that's it. So I've now created an animation. This is exactly what you're going to want to do for your lab that requires you to turn in an animation. It just wants you to set up a camera in your scene that will show the scene. You can, if you want to do a 360, let's do another one. If you want to do a 360, you can use a camera on a circle. Okay, so there's this really cool story about Alfred Hitchcock. He had used all the cameras that his studio had, and I think it was probably 100, and he wanted more cameras. And so he tried to go to the competing studios and borrow their cameras, and of course they're like, "You're our competition. We're not going to help you." And so he was at a loss. Well, here's the great thing. You can use as many cameras as you want. And I recommend you not delete them, that you just turn them on and off. Because you can also turn a camera off just like you can a light. Oh, this one you got to right click. And hide selection. Okay, so you right click on the camera, hit hide selection, and the camera's temporarily gone. If you want to bring it back, you just right click and hit unhide by name, and then pick the camera and unhide it. Okay, so just leave them because you may need them again, and you've gone through all the effort to set them up. So it's just better to right click on the camera, hide it, hide selection, and then later just right click anywhere in the scene, and you can hit unhide by name and bring it back. I'm sure you guys can see this. Yeah, just select it and unhide it, and then it comes back. Okay, so definitely do that. Don't delete your cameras. You might need them later. All right, so animation, walkthrough assistant. Where are you? There we go. I'm going to create a second camera. Okay, so I have a second camera in here. Pick path, and I'm going to get that rounded path right there. oops, did I pick the plane? Nope, circle. Okay, so I picked that and look at object, and I'm going to pick my character. Okay, and I need to change, we're good, I need to change this camera to the second camera. And now when I render this out, or when I play this, sorry, you see now it's in the ground. We got to pick it up. Just go to your path and lift it up. Oh, it needs to be even higher. Should be good. What's it doing? How does it work through the camera too? I'm trying to figure out why it's in the mud or in the lava. It shouldn't be. Interesting. All right, let's try this. Oh, there it is right there. Okay, so let's go back to our walkthrough assistant. Try picking the path again. There we go. It looks like that might have worked. It said circle, but oh, you know what? My circle might be in the mud, in the lava. Yeah, it is. That was the problem. Okay, let's pick it up out of the lava. Okay, and then try it again. Circle. Okay, there we go. Now we should be good. Yeah, that looks better. Okay. So now I'm going to play this. And you can see how fast that's going, right? But it's showing a 360 of my scene. Now, I want more frames in order to set this up. And the way you get more frames is down here on the bottom is this little, you see this right here, this little clock. It's called time configuration. You want to select that. And this will allow you to make all kinds of adjustments to your scene. And we're going to cover this, we're going to do this in the next video. I'll show you how to set up the configuration. Okay, see you in the next video.